welcome back. I know it's quite ironic me welcoming you when you're an hour and a half away from getting on a plane.
Yep.
Next stop, Melbourne.
Yeah.
Great, fantastic. So 3 massive shows, Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland. I know it's hard to pinpoint a particular moment maybe for you as to what was a very special moment for one of those shows. For me, it had to have been Powder Chutes coming out last night with you guys. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What an amazing... Those lads are so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And I spent some time with them backstage, and they were just going, oh my God, everywhere I look, there's fucking someone famous. And I was like, mate, chill, like, you're at the party. Like, it's no, you are the party.
Yeah.
And they bought the ruckus, man.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. You've been teasing a bit on your socials about coming in and having this chat with me. And again, really honored to be the person that you've decided to have this chat with, bro. There's been, for lack of a better term, a whole lot of absolute shit that's gone down behind the scenes since you were last here in New Zealand. So I think it's best to just fucking hand you this can of worms. And what's happened, man? What's been going on since you were last here?
Yeah, so this is an interesting talk we're having, right? Because like normally I would come in before the shows and we promote the shows, and today I just want to talk to you because you're my friend. We've become friends over the years, and I feel comfortable around you, and I don't like to do a lot of interview stuff, but I've got stuff that I want to say, and I started to get into it with you, and I think the world should know.
Great. Well, mate, we're fucking...
So let me tell you, where do I begin? This is my therapy session for everybody in New Zealand.
Get comfortable, buddy.
This is my therapy session. First of all, Powder Chutes, love them. They are amazing people, and if you're out there listening, please support them because they are the truth. See, like, a lot of just, they got it. They got the thing going on. Boom. All right. Where did we leave off? We left off here last year, and we had just started making a new album. And we had played some of these songs here in New Zealand for the first time ever, just kind of working things out.
Yeah.
Everything's going fantastic. Like, amazing. You know, we were, like, excited. We're in Muse's studio. We're putting together what I think is one of the better albums we've made in as many years. And the vibes were at a pretty all-time high. And we got that album finished at the beginning of the year, and there was a rollout plan. Everything was great. Could not have been more excited as a band. I'm like, this is it. This is the one. This is the time. Like, I'm happy with the music. I can actually listen to this album. The excitement was at an all-time high. Album comes out. About a week and a half after that album comes out, I'm finishing up a small United States tour. It's my very last day of that tour. I'm in New York. Now, this is where you got to stick with me for a second. I have not heard from my father, my real father, in almost a decade.
Wow.
8.5 years, to be exact. And had just assumed that I would never speak to that man again. I don't think he ever thought he would talk to me again. We had quite a falling out.
So was that on your terms or on his terms? Little from column A?
Yeah, a bit of. I just had gotten to a point where I no longer wanted to deal with some of the things that were being said, and he, you know, was going through some stuff. So we're on the very last day, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna spend a couple days with my girlfriend in New York and just relax and enjoy the fact that we just put out an album and show her New York. She had never really been, at least not with me. And the very first morning of my day off, I get a phone call from a hospital in Massachusetts, right outside of Boston, right where you were, you went. And hi, is this John Stevens? I'm like, yeah, this is he. Who's asking? And they said, we've got your father. He's about to go under the knife to have a full-blown liver transplant. And mind you, he was never a drinker, but he might not make it through the night. How fast can you get here?
Shit.
This is like the start of a cascade of events that would just completely alter the course of my life in, I think, the better, but I had to go through some stuff first. So I just have to like make a decision on the spot. Am I going to see this man again in my life after potentially, like, I'd already written it out. My friend had asked me to come to a wedding earlier in the year, and I was like, I don't even want to be on Cape Cod because I don't want to be near my dad. You know what I mean? So I said no at first, and then I agreed. When push came to shove, I was like, I do want to see this guy. I want to like make things right. I want to reconcile while I can. And maybe that was selfish, but I just wanted to feel like, okay, I tried. So I did. So I went. So I got on the next flight, to Massachusetts and then got in a car for a few hours and got to this hospital. He pulled through, which is great.
Yeah.
And that man woke up and he was, very high on the post-operation drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And just, it was different seeing my father, completely different than I remember him. Time had passed.
Vulnerable?
Sure.
Yeah.
But beautiful. And he woke up and he was shocked. He could not believe that, the man in front of him, because I was a kid last time I saw him type of thing, or a much younger version of myself. Tears, just like both of us, just wow, wild. So this would kick off like quite an emotional time. I hadn't been back to my hometown. I don't really have family. He would be the only thing. And I've got a half brother that I don't see enough. But it was cool, right? So turns out I kind of just like decided I have to take care of him for the next month while he's recovering. He didn't have anybody else to do it. There's nobody else. So boom, take all of my plans, throw them out the window. I'm going to help this man get back on his feet. Here's where the industry stuff happens. At that moment, like a couple days into that, I get a phone call from, and I promised I wasn't going to name names.
Yeah, that's good.
I get a phone call from my management. They really like the new album. We had been out of contract with them for a number of years. Everything had been going fine. No contracts, just good faith, good trust. You work for us, we'll pay you this. And everything had been going splendidly. And all of a sudden, I think an element of greed came in, and they wanted to put us in not only a contract, but a heavier contract than I had ever really seen.
Wow.
Which would have included even like when I'm not on tour, I don't I'm in a rock band, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not like brilliantly rich. I got to keep working.
Yeah.
So I stream video games and I'm on Twitch and I've got different things going on. They wanted to take a piece of that. They wanted to take the songs that we had just written and own a portion of that in perpetuity forever.
Jesus.
Forever.
Jesus.
It's a long time.
That is.
They wanted to put key man clauses on people that don't even work with us on an active day-to-day basis. I said, get fucked.
Get fucked.
I said, get fucked.
What does it mean when, for people that out there that don't know, a record company or a label trying to say that they own your songs? Do they legally have a leg to stand on?
Yeah, if you sign the contract.
If you've signed something
Absolutely.
that says that.
So mind you, this is the management, not the label. We're going to get to the label.
Okay. So this is and the management was saying that they would now own the masters of all.
Not own the masters, but own a portion of our
All of your work.
proceeds
Okay.
of what we do and what we have done with them for the rest of time.
And you said get fucked.
And I said, get fucked.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for this was because, I was willing to possibly negotiate. There's always room to negotiate. But this management company, they were kind of like my family for over a decade. And it was so interesting that, on the one hand, the father figure who's helped me navigate this industry was coming at me in this one light. And my actual father figure is now back on my life. So it was like two ships passing in the night. And I'm just like, this is really wild. But I thought that it was classless to try to give me an ultimatum on a contract while knowing what I'm going through with my own father.
Yeah, that's a dick move.
It was wild. I'm like, you couldn't wait a couple weeks on this and talk to me. Like, so the ultimatum was given. You've got until Friday. Over a decade of working with these people, you've got until Friday to figure this out.
So that must have been what hurt the most.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like I was being abandoned right at the beginning of an album cycle, just like, wow. Okay. And when somebody comes at me like that, my natural reaction is just like, no, get fucked. You know what I mean? I'm an adult now. But also scary.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done anything in this industry without those people. Made the decision, took a bet on myself. Okay, thinking, whatever, it'll be fine. 2 weeks later, my dad's finally getting back on his feet to some degree. I mean, he's a rowdy boy, so it's hard for him to stay down, He like wants to be back on his motorcycle and stuff. I'm like, you've got a hole in your stomach, bro. You got to relax.
Kick back.
Yeah, so 2 weeks later, we get the phone call that we are no longer on Roadrunner Records. So my entire dropped, but not just us. Roadrunner Records is no longer even
gone.
Yeah, well, it's a paper label. It's a
Okay.
paper label now, so there's no one in the building. And what had happened was a certain man has taken over all of WMG,
Warner Music Group.
Yep. And his father runs Universal Music Group, and so now they kind of have like the whole pie when it comes to recorded music. Or
Wow.
I think something like 40% of it, and
It's a big slice of pie.
it's a pretty big slice of pie. So I didn't take it too personally because I understand that these are publicly traded companies, right? And rock and roll does not perform the same way certain TikTok songs that are popping off are. And
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it was just so interesting because this is the third time in a row that we have put out an album and then something like drastic has happened. So the first time was MCID. We had that out for a month, and then COVID. So couldn't tour it. Like literally
Yeah.
nobody gave a shit about anybody's album. Can't take that personally, whatever. It's fine. But couldn't tour the album, couldn't support it. Okay, fine. The next one was the Midnight Demon Club. A month after we had released that, we were on 300, and we had been acquired of a big sale to Elektra and Roadrunner, and suddenly we were put into Roadrunner, and at that time we didn't know anybody at Roadrunner, and they didn't know who was going to do what. There was so much happening in the business, like people changing roles and positions because of this big merger between 300 and Elektra, which became known as 3EE, 300 Elektra Entertainment. So nobody knew what to do, and the album wasn't worked. And then now we just put out As Above, So Below, and a month afterwards, Roadrunner, gone. All the bands gone. Slipknot's out. They knew they were going to be out.
Who else is with
2022.
who else was on with Roadrunner?
God, Turnstile. Love Turnstile.
Fuck yeah. Powder Chutes gave me Turnstile vibes, man. They're wicked.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I
Crazy.
saw too. Amazing.
Is Hailstorm with Roadrunner?
Hailstorm's on Atlantic.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
So anyway, yeah. So a bunch of like 200 something. I believe it's around 200, give or take. Employees had been let go, and a bunch of bands had been let go. Now, I gotta admit, there was a time there when I'm just like, oh my, I just didn't know what the hell. And by the way, my girlfriend broke up with me. We're good now.
Sweet.
Okay, but like just went through. So this is all
When
just,
it rains, it pours.
dude. It was just a whole hell of a lot, and I hit a really dark spot, and it was so crazy because I was in a really high spot with the release of this album and getting through the creational process of that, and then just thing after thing after thing after thing. But this is not a sob story, but I just wanted to let everybody know what these past few months have been. I think that the label thing, the management thing, I think it's great, because what I've learned just in this really short amount of time is that everything that I thought might have been terrible made space for something great. So, hey, guess what? I don't have anybody over my head now. I can do literally whatever I want. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. God bless everybody that was at Roadrunner that did have enthusiasm and did want to work this record. I'm not in any way, shape, or form upset with anybody. I understand this business. I understand what has to happen. I think it's a blessing, because I think that it's possible that certain facets of the music industry are a little antiquated, a little archaic, and don't really know exactly how things work anymore. You know, it's kind of like you don't necessarily need a label to support you to succeed. I think they can be very helpful.
Absolutely.
There might be a version
Especially
of life.
if you're young. Like when you came on very young with these guys and had been with them for the fucking entirety of your career up until that point.
Yeah.
Like, I get that you get how record labels are run and how the music industry works, and that's cool. But there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like it was handled very well on their end at all, which you are absolutely allowed to be shitty about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great that you're out from under this metaphorical fucking rock.
Yeah, we would have had the decision anyway, because we actually, I'm proud of we got through the 5-album, the big like
Yep.
5-album fucking contract deal. We got through it. We did it. We fucking succeeded. And so it would have been down to an option anyway. It's just interesting that it happened as soon as we put the album out, and now there's nobody in the building to help push the album. But you know, the silver lining here is that we held out. We talked to a lot of different management companies. God bless them all. Everybody was great. Everyone was really excited to work with us and to get us
As well, they should be.
to the next phase. And everybody was great. Like we couldn't have gone wrong, but we held out to the very end. And I now have the pleasure of announcing that we're with Madden Co. And I'm not sure if you're super familiar with them, but it's Benji and Joel Madden of Good Charlotte. They started their own company about 10 or 11 years ago, kind of quietly.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people knew about it. And now, wow, they have quite a curated little roster of just amazing talent. They've got Poppy, Bad Omens, Palais Royale, Architects, Chase Atlantic from us. Like just some like very few bands and all very different, but somehow it still feels curated. And now us. And these dudes are just the coolest.
Yeah.
You know, it's Benji and Joel and their buddy Joey and this guy Miles and their brother Josh, and it's a kind of a family-run thing, and they are just crushing. And there's no contracts.
Yeah.
They don't have us under any contracts. They're just like, we fuck with you. We've always fucked with you. We want to help you win. We have the power to help you win. You have the power to help yourself win. Don't be afraid of who you are. You don't need to ask permission to do things, to release art, to be who you are. And I'm like, oh God, that's all I've ever wanted.
That's got to be incredibly liberating.
Yeah, but it was write it down at the final minute because the vibes were so low. After thing after thing after thing after thing, we're like, fuck, is the universe trying to tell us, like, take a break?
Yeah. Shit, man. But it's so important to have people in your circle that genuinely do want to see you win.
Yeah.
Like that's, for me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, like we, the boys that I'm with on the drive team, Jay and Dunk, our whole mentality and ideal of it is, fuck, when you win, we win.
Yeah.
Like this is a win for you. Like fucking, you're sitting down having a chat with Johnny Stevens. Fuck, mate, we're winning. Like this is great. This is fantastic. Yeah. And I think, but on your level, to have someone come in from the get-go and just say, do you know what, bro? You just fucking do you. We're not here to stifle you. We're not here to say this is what you have to do. We're not pulling your fucking strings. Your job and your passion is to make music and to make art. Fucking go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely go for it.
Yeah, I didn't think it existed anymore in this industry, and they're just beyond excited about art. So they own a streaming service called Veeps. They have a podcast called Artist Friendly. They didn't like the narrative of how things were going at Alternative Press Magazine and Revolver and Brooklyn Vegan, so they bought all those magazines. They just bought them. What a flex.
That's such a clutch move, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
I love it. I think it's great.
No, I mean, that was them. I don't know if I like the way this is
right.
going.
Yeah.
Fucking, all right, well, here you go. Give
But
me this.
so you and I won't get into it super specifically, but I know you for a fact know a lot about the ups and downs of life. And like you were just saying in the car, you know, bullshit in, bullshit out. It's just
peaks and troughs, mate.
Peaks and troughs. Yeah. And so I won't take up too much of everyone else's time. I just needed to tell everybody what I was going through in the past few months so they could understand maybe why I've been quiet on social media, because I don't want to be negative. I don't want to call out people by name or I think everything happens for a reason. And right now I feel as though I'm transcending and I'm operating on a higher vibration than I have in years.
Mate, that's great. And it was fucking readily apparent at the shows.
You could tell?
Everyone could tell. And you know something, and again, this might not mean a heck of a lot. And fuck that, it will mean a lot to you because I know you and I know this will. But when you guys showed up to that pre-party in Christchurch, like I remember sitting backstage with you beforehand, having a chat, and I was like, man, we've got this pre-party. And you were like, what's that? And I was like, well, people that are going to your show are going to come and hang out at a bar. We'll put on some free, we'll give away some free stuff through the rock, and they'll have some beers and hang out with each other, and then they'll all make their way to the gig. And you were like, what time's that on? And I went, 4. And I was like, you want to come? You were like, we'll see. You never know. And then I looked at you and you gave me a sly little nod, and I was like, okay. And I was just expecting you and Kofus to show up.
Oh, yeah, we all showed
and
up.
Then I was stood there, and I heard someone whisper quite loudly, bro, the fucking band just walked in. And I've never seen so many heads collectively just go yoink, and then it was on. And mate, you guys were so hospitable. You hung out for about 30, 40 minutes. You shook some hands, kissed some babies, got some photos done. And that will go down in New Zealand rock history forever as probably one of the fucking coolest things that's ever happened.
We're just dudes that like to have a beer, and I love hanging out with you any chance I get. And thanks for inviting me to the party.
Mate, it was cool. It was great. Fuck, it was bad.
New Zealand's like it's become such a special place to us, and I just never could have imagined that growing up. I never could have anticipated that.
Well, that's the other thing, and we'll finish here because I need to get you back to your hotel. When was the moment that you realised that this small island Pacific nation, fucking a stone's throw from Antarctica, was one of your biggest fan bases?
It was you guys.
It was us?
Yeah.
Here at The Rock?
Yeah,
Great.
it was the first time that we charted in the top 100, somewhere in the 100 of the 2000 countdown.
I remember sending through stuff about that.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's huge. The Rock 2000 is one of Kiwis' rites of passage.
Yeah.
People take the day off on the final day and have their own parties, and everyone, they don't bunk off work, they get permission from their bosses because New Zealand bosses are the best, but they say, look, Friday the 13th of September it was this year, so everyone, as soon as we announce that date, and we try and give people a couple of months notice for that so that they can get this time off work, we throw a massive party. And I believe a couple years ago, I think it was after Boy Who Died Wolf, we had you guys booked to play a gig that we call Rock the Park, which is a big free concert that we put on. We'll pay you, but free for everyone to come into and hang out. It's at a big park in Auckland, very family friendly. And one of the clauses in the contract that we were just about to that we'd signed with you guys said, this is very close to the Grammy Awards. If they get nominated for a Grammy, they won't be able to be there. And you fucking got nominated for a Grammy, you dog.
Well, we'll see if that ever happens again. But
yeah,
I want to show up at one of these Rock 2000 parties because they don't have that where I'm from. It just looks fun.
Dude, it's so fun. So
is it in Spark?
It's at Spark.
No kidding.
So very, very similar setup to what you guys rocked last night.
Yeah.
The seats and the general admission standing are just a big free flow, and people come. It is an R18 event because there's a lot of hearty characters, shall we say, that like to come out and hang out with us for these countdowns.
Radio debauchery.
Dude, what's wild, what's crazy is being in a venue that holds 12,000 people and seeing a gang of people there listening to the radio.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You guys don't even have artists playing. It's just literally like...
After the countdown we do. So we had Wolf Mother headline this year.
Okay.
And... mate, it was fantastic. We had a New Zealand Rock All-Stars group in there as well, and a Kiwi band called Head Like a Hole.
Yeah.
Should give them a listen, man. They're great. Real dingy, fucking just decent rock. But yeah, mate, look, thank you so much for coming in and sharing, bro. I mean, I know it must be a fucking cathartic, liberating experience to just to be able to get this shit off your chest. And people forget as well, I think, or it's so easy to get caught up in what's a parasocial relationship where you have provided the soundtrack to so many people's upbringing over the last little while that they feel that they know you, and they know Rich, and they know Matt, and they know Ryan, and they know Mark.
Now they're going to get to know me a little bit more because I think that I've had some chains. I've had some chains on.
Mate, we got some.
I don't have any more chains. I am going to do whatever the fuck I want, when I want. You will see more music coming out of me at a more steady pace. No more waiting 2-3 years between albums. Like, it's go time. I'm excited. We're getting right back in that studio with a whole new outlook and a whole new energy. So let's wrap it. I got to go catch a flight.
Man.
Off to Melbourne.
Let's do it.
Love you.
Love you. Pleasure, as always. All right, let's get you back.